All right, guys, welcome back to our weekly live event. It's Pascal. Man, the quality of this camera is so good. All right, guys, it was great seeing everybody again. Sorry I missed you guys on Sunday. It's a little busy, but it's good to be back. We got a lot of stuff to go over now. A lot of things that happened recently with the new laws that came out and how to prepare ourselves as landlords and as tenants to work with these new laws. All right, guys, what's up? What's up, Roadrunner? What's up, MBL? Good to see everybody again. What's up, Carlito? What's up, Pascal? It's good to see everybody again. What's up, Cypher? What's up, Crazy? All right, give me a couple of minutes, guys, before we go live. I want to go over our topic today, and then we'll be able to start the live event. How's everybody's week been? What's up, Fredos? And everybody's been asking me questions in the DM. I'm sorry I've not been able to answer. I'm getting like lots and lots of questions. You know, super busy running my company. So this is the time for you guys to answer your questions. You know, I set this time up twice a week to answer all of your questions. You know, obviously it's free. You get all the details you need to make a decision. If you need anything extra or more details, feel free to come and contact us and set up a meeting. You know, because sometimes if you have a very detailed question, if you're buying a company, buying a property, looking to do refinances, you actually need maybe a little bit more detail and some financial analysis done before you can make your proper decision. So if that is a situation, feel free to DM me on IG and we will reach out to you. You can always call our phone number. Our phone number is also on IG as well, and we'll be happy to help you guys. So, all right, let's jump on in. All right. Nico says, finally, man, good to see you. Good to see you too, man. Good to see you guys. Crazy says, can't hear you. Anybody else having an issue with hearing me? What's up, Star? What is the BRRRR strategy? So I'll answer the BRRRR strategy, and it's called the BRRRR method. And after I go into that question, I'll go into this week's topic. So the BRRRR method is buy, remodel, rent, refinance. The goal is to buy a property about 50% under retail value. So you're going to buy a $200,000 property, and your goal is to buy it for $100,000. And then you're going to spend about $40,000 to say, I'm going to say $40,000 to remodel it and your closing costs. At that point, you're in the project for $140,000. You can go and get a refinance, a cash out refinance, to pay off what your hard money loan and any money you put into the remodel. At that point, you have no money in the deal, because if you bought it for $100,000, spent $40,000 on the remodel, you get a loan for $140,000, which washes your initial loan and the amount you put down. You now have no money in the deal, and you own the property with none of your own cash. You have a tenant in there, they're paying the rent, the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance, and then you use the money to do another deal. That is called the BRRRR method. Now, some people would say, why would anyone sell a property that's half price? The reason that they're going to sell a property half price is because they cannot sell it to anybody else. No one can get a loan on this type of property if they're just a regular consumer. Unless you're in the business and you can get a hard money loan or you have the cash to do the deal, you cannot get financing. So you have to find someone specific that could take on this deal and manage the remodel. Not many people want to take on a project that requires a lot of work. So that is the reason why you can get a property that low and be able to apply the BRRRR method. In my scenario, I bought a $700,000 to $800,000 home, depending on how you value it. I bought it for $289,000, and I'm going to be roughly spending about $150,000 on this property. So by the time I'm done within closing costs, I'll be in for about $450,000, $475,000, and I'm planning to sell it for roughly around like $650,000 to $700,000 under market value, but I want to make it a quick sale. And or I could do a cash out refinance and do the BRRRR method on that deal. So that is a possibility. That is an example of a project that you can do. I prefer not to do it for that specific example I just gave you. I'd rather just sell the property. So that's the BRRRR method. What is your golf handicap? To be honest, I don't golf. So I wouldn't know. They're trying to get me to come out, but I haven't had time. For remodeling financing. So if you get a hard money loan, it'll include the purchase plus the remodel. Can I buy a property with an LLC from a different state? Yes, you can, especially if you're going for like commercial type lending. If you're going for conventional lending, like the lending that we offer for 1 to 4 family homes, initially you're going to get the loan in your individual name. After you purchase the property, you can then turn it back over into the LLC's name. So yes, you can. All right. Is it good to use the BRRRR strategy on buying your first strategy? So is using the BRRRR method a good idea to buy your first property? You can use it. Remember, what would you need other than money? You would need to be able to find the deal and assess what is it going to cost to remodel the property. Because if you don't know how much it's going to cost to remodel the property, you're not going to be able to execute the BRRRR method. So say you buy a property for $100,000 that completed it's worth 200, but you don't know how to value of the remodel. So you spend $100,000 on your remodel. So now you basically spent 200 between 100 purchase and 100 remodel, spent 200 total on a property that's only worth 200. So when you sell it, you're going to spend around 7% in fees between closing costs and agent fees and so on, not ignoring carrying costs. You would actually lose money. So it would be important for you to know how to assess the value of a property, assess the actual cost of the remodel. If you can do those two things, that is going to be helpful for you to determine, are you going to make money? The next point you would need to do is find people that can actually do the work. And that's when it's really important to start making connections and building a good team. Good question. Teen Ambition, what's up, man? Good to see you. Aaron says, if you had 10K in years of remodeling experience, starting over from a family tragedy, what would your next step be? So I would be very careful because I worked full time and I invested on the side, and I bought properties were currently rented and did small remodels along the way. And then when the tenant moved out, I would do things like flooring and so on, maybe spend 1 month and then put the property right back up for rent. After about a year, or 6 months to a year, I did a home equity line of credit and got most of my money back. That was the conservative way of doing things. That's the way I saw it worked out, and as a conservative way, because I could still work full time and do it at the same time. Now, can you do it with just $10,000? Yes, you can do it with $10,000. You're roughly probably with the 3.5% down, you probably can get a $200,000 property for that amount of money. How should a 17-year-old invest his money? Let's say 10K. So when I was 17, I invested in stocks. I invested in silver coins. I invested in like comic books and like Pokemon cards and stuff like that. And I was able to find any of those items undervalued. So I'd buy those items when they were undervalued. And then at a later date, I would sell them for a higher value. Is it possible to buy your first property and be able to rent right away without remodeling until you get money flowing from your rent tenants? Yes, Jay Stacks. That's exactly how I did it. I bought my first property, rented, but I knew it was being rented for about $500 for a 2-bedroom. I knew at that time I could probably get it to about $700. So I painted the outside. I did some stuff to the outside. When the tenant moved out, I went and tiled the inside, painted the inside, did some upgrades, and then rented out for like $600. I did small upgrades along the way. This way, between the job that I had, I would fix all those things on the weekend. And then slowly it grew, and then I bought another property about 6 months or a year later. Griff says, is it worth to put 20% down to avoid PMI? So the answer is yes, especially on your first property. When you put down 20% to avoid PMI, that's good. Not only is your interest rate lower, you're also not paying PMI. So it's actually makes your payment lower 2 different ways. Now, what I did is, again, about 6 months later, I went and got a home equity line of credit and got back almost all my money. So that is a way where if you're just patient and give it some time, you can get your money back right away and avoid PMI and get a lower interest rate. Because when you're putting down 20%, you get a lower interest rate. And if you're putting down 25%, it's even lower. And again, if you're patient, roughly within 3 to 6 months, you can get a home equity line of credit and get back almost all your money on the down payment. So you're really you're just playing a game of patience at that time. And that's what I did. I put down 20% and I got most of it back later. So it was as if I only put down like 5 or 10%. Joe says, is it worth converting a first property into a duplex, or should I look for a property that is already a duplex? So remember, Joe, guys, you got to know this. To convert a property, to change the land and the zoning legally from a single unit to a duplex, depending on your city, could take like 3 weeks to make, not 3 weeks, 3 months to 18 months. So you could be losing a lot of money if the property is shut down and doesn't have any tenants in there. So be very careful if you're trying to convert something. Now, what I'm saying is be careful. I'm not saying don't do it. I do that. I do convert properties and make them more units, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to have a timeline. You have to have a budget, because a lot of times you can have an amazing plan, but an amazing plan without the budget is bad. You know, like you're gonna go bankrupt before you can actually execute on that plan. Forgot to hit record. All right. What is exactly PMI? PMI is private mortgage insurance. This is an insurance premium that you pay every month, and it basically protects the bank. It protects the bank in case the borrower doesn't pay the loan. And this is for loans that do not put down 20% down when you're purchasing a property. So if you're buying a $100,000 property and you do not put 20% down, the bank will require you to get private mortgage insurance to protect them in case you don't make your payments and they have to take back the property. That is what private mortgage insurance is. And it doesn't help you at all. Now, if you get an amazing deal, it's worth paying private mortgage insurance, because if you're buying a property that's worth $200 for $160, then you shouldn't matter that you're going to pay PMI. But it's really important that you spend years to study your market to know it's worth it. Or at least not even years. You don't technically have to put in years, but you have to put in the time. So I started studying when I was 14. I didn't buy my first deal until I was 19. And even then, I didn't get the best deal ever. But my second property, I got way better deal. My third property was an amazing deal. So with time, you also get better. Pat says, you're the best. Thanks, Pat. I'm going tomorrow deal shopping to banks. Hopefully do a cash out refi. What are some good tips or questions to ask them? So ask for the rate and terms. Now, depending on the state you're in, I could probably do your cash out refi because, again, I'm a lender. We do 1 to 4 family homes, and we can do cash out refis. FYI, Chase and Wells Fargo, from what I understand, do not do any cash out refis. And from what I'm hearing, we're basically the cheapest in the industry right now. We take half the commission than what other people make in the industry. We're more of a volume game. We're not looking to make money on one deal. We're looking to make money on lots of deals. So I'll give you an example. One of my clients, she's a realtor. She wants to refi one of her properties. She went to Wells Fargo. They said they're not going to do it. They're not doing any cash out refis right now. She went to the credit union, and the credit union offered her 0.5% higher on the loan, higher fees, and they said it would take them at least 4 months. That's right, not 4 weeks, 4 months for them to do their cash out refi. So, and our fastest turnaround so far has been 3 weeks. So we're 0.5% less on the rate, and we're less fees, and we're less time. So again, guys, DM me. I'm more than happy to look at your specific scenario and give you a quote on your scenario. Happy to help. All right. Is it possible to buy your first home as an investment property using FHA? So the way if I was going to go back in time, redo what I'm doing today, what would I do? I would buy a 4-unit property, live in one side, and rent out the other 3. You get the FHA loan. You get a great opportunity to live in the property and fix it up yourself. Now, some people, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, or if you're going to be a doctor and you're still in medical school, and but you're working part-time, you can afford buying a property. Don't fix it yourself. Focus on school. It's not worth it. Just live there like a tenant. You are the owner of the property, but live there like a tenant. Let a property manager manage the property for you, and have someone else fix it, because it's not worth your time to do it. You need to focus on what's making you money. And if you guys are busy making money and living your lives, invest with someone else. I'm giving you guys strategies on how to do things. And the other group of people that are watching, I'm giving you guys the knowledge to understand that who you end up choosing to invest with is knowledgeable, because you want to make sure who you're talking to, what they're saying makes sense. Because if what they're saying doesn't make sense, do not give them your money, because it is easy to lose money in this business. And another way is it's easy to buy a property, not make any money, and be stuck in it for 10 years before selling it just to avoid losing money. So be careful. What is the worst thing that can happen when buying your first property? You could buy a property with bad foundation, bad roof, bad tenants. 1,000 things could go wrong. Really, 1,000 things. That's why inspections, appraisals, due diligence is important, right? It's very important to just do your research and take your time. You don't have to rush into it. But after you spend your time and research and study all the different properties and walk through properties and do all that research, eventually you're going to build a understanding. So you're going to be more and more confident on what you do. This is not a race. Real estate is more of a marathon. So take your time, and as you get better, you're going to make more and more money. Trust me, just take your time and you're going to be able to make money. It's just, think of it as a long-term thing. So what states do you service? We do Florida, New Jersey, New York, California, Arizona, Texas, Colorado, Illinois, Oregon. I might have forgot some of them. But anyway, DM me and I'll let you know. Also, when you were 14, 15, 16 and thinking of investing in real estate, did you think of investing out of state? I didn't, just because the scenarios I was running in Florida and in my market were all doable. Like, I really believed I could do it, so I didn't have to think about it. Now, I did once in a while think, wow, in the Panhandle, I could buy an acre of land for $500. But then I realized, I'm like, if I buy a piece of land, what am I going to do? I can't really rent it out. I'm not going to make any money. I'm just going to put money that's going to sit there. I'm like, well, I could just buy silver coins and do the same thing, and it's at my house. So that was the reason why I didn't end up doing it. So the reason was, if you study all the people that talk about real estate, they're talking about Florida, Texas, Arizona being the great states to be in. So if I'm already here, it worked. Obviously I'm not needing to invest somewhere else. But if I was like in California or like Chicago or say New Jersey or New York, where they're really bad states for landlords, they're like, the laws are against, they're in the favor of a tenant, and you could, without COVID, you could be stuck for a year with a tenant not paying the rent. Those places definitely I would not be interested in investing in. I'd rather invest out of state, and the returns are better. Cash on cash is better. The cap rates are better. You just get more money. You get more bang for your buck. I wish I could work with you. Can you recommend a similar company as yours, but in Tennessee? To be honest, I don't know of anybody in Tennessee right now, so can't really help. All right, Nico says, waiting on you to do my refi in Texas. Awesome, Nico. All right, Nico, just send me a DM, and then I think you mentioned it earlier this week. Send me a DM. What we could do is we can start the process, and I can give you some ideas of what it's going to look like. If anyone's wondering, W-2s, pay stubs, and a copy of your existing mortgage statement is what was normally needed to start on a refinance. And that will get the ball rolling. What do you suggest to look for when wanting to buy your first property? Location, location, location. This has been true 100 years ago. It's true today, and it's going to be true 100 years from now. Now, what I do think is, if you're going to say, Pascal, what location should I buy in? What I'm feeling the trend is going to be for the next 15 years is buying in downtown cores. So let's just say, if you're going to invest in Tennessee, you don't have to invest in like the major city downtown. You can invest in a secondary or tertiary market, which means a secondary market, not the biggest city, but the surrounding city, second big city surrounding, or the third biggest city surrounding a major metropolis, and investing in their downtown core. Because people are going to want to go downtown. They're going to want to live downtown. They're going to be where things are going to be lively and active. So that is my suggestion. So like, why I'm saying, I wouldn't say, like, for example, in New York, I wouldn't say invest in New York City. I would look for another big city, a secondary market, or a tertiary market, a third market that is decently large in a downtown area. So that is going to be growing over the next 15 years, my bet. And I'm buying properties in those type of markets. And no, my example was in New York, but I do not own anything in New York, and I'm not planning to buy anything in New York. I think actually New York City, LA, Miami, Chicago are going to eat it bad. Eat it bad meaning they're going to tank. I think that already you're seeing like 5% drops in prices already. Fredo says, haven't asked you in a couple of days. Any deals ripe, ready for TPA area? Fredos, yes, that's correct. I mean, normally it's every day, twice a day, 3 times a day, but it's been a couple of days. So actually, I'm looking at mobile home parks right now. I looked at one mobile home park. They're returning a 14 cap. So if we bought the property, we would be making roughly like 25 to 35%, depending on what broke and vacancies, cash on cash return. So for like $100,000 investment, it would make roughly like $25,000 that year from the rent alone, ignoring appreciation and things like that. So, but the deal's kind of not that big. I mean, it's only like $750,000, so it's not really big enough to really interest me. I'm still looking. I'm still diving into the numbers and the due diligence of it, but it's not super exciting. But I am looking at mobile home parks just because I think they're going to be a great niche to be in over the next 10 years as well. I'm kind of segmenting my market into two sections. I'm looking at the super affordable mobile home parks where people can own their own mobile home and you manage the land. And I'm also looking at more of the apartments, but more on like kind of the luxury side, not like super luxury, but affordable luxury side. Those are the two segments, and I'm ignoring the middle. I want one end or on the other end, I'm ignoring the middle. That's kind of where I've been leading. Would you advise buying or renting a home? For right now, I would say continue renting. I think there's going to be great deals coming May of 2021. Between foreclosures should be starting May of 2021. The forbearances should be over. Evictions starting January of 2021. I think the EIDL, which is the super cheap loans the government was giving out, and the PPP money, which was money the government gave out to help pay for payroll, all of that should be run out by May of 2021. Most people got EIDL, the money they received from the government. From my estimates, only covered about 10 to 12 months of expenses. And then on top of that, the PPP covered about 2.5 months of expenses. So I'm seeing like a large segment of people are just going to run out of cash. And right now, why the market looks good is because people got flush with cash from the money the government gave them. And that money is going to run out. And I think we're going to start seeing things when it runs out around May of 2021. Also, when you refi, doesn't your payment go up on that property? Therefore, why or how do people do it to buy other homes? So one, if you are refining, for example, I have a property, a fourplex that has a loan at 4.99% interest. I got it 2 years ago, and that was a great interest rate. That was a great interest rate at that time. Currently, I'm looking at like a 3.25% interest rate, 3.5% interest rate on this property. Even if I got $100,000 more out on this property, my payment's almost the same because the interest rate went down so much. I mean, I've basically reduced my interest rate almost about a third. So if you're lowering your interest rate, you're able to take more money out on a loan and the payment's almost the same. And normally rents increase around 3 to 4% a year consistently. So if you buy a property and the rent's $1,000 today, in 10 years from now, rent should be roughly around $1,400. Now your mortgage didn't increase. Your taxes, insurance went up a little bit. Utilities went up a little bit. Maintenance probably went up some too, but not $400 worth. So if you have 4 units and rent went up $1,600, most of that's going to be profit to you. So now if you did do a refinance, took out more cash, and the payment went up $300 or $400, you still have another $1,300 left over. So that's how, in the beginning, you're not making a lot of money. But today, I've been in the game now I'm 34, so I've been doing it for 15 years now. The properties I bought 10 years ago, I was renting for $500. Now they're like at $1,000, and I'm remodeling them, and I'm gonna bring them up to $1,500. So imagine I increased my rent $1,000 a unit on a 7-unit building that I bought. That means I'm making $7,000 more each month. On that one property, it's $84,000 I'm bringing in for a smart decision that I made 10 years ago. So as time goes on, it gets bigger and better and better. Now, say I took out a loan for $400,000. A $400,000 loan is only $1,800 a month. So I could hypothetically do a refinance, pull $400,000 cash on this property. My payment's only $1,800 a month. I explained to you, I'm now making $7,000 more than I did before. I would still be making an extra $5,200 a month which is over $60,000 a year. Plus I got $400,000 cash. So I spend this $400,000 cash to buy another property, put $400,000 down on a $2 million property, and I'm still collecting that extra $60,000 a year on that property. So yes, as long as I'm spending that money on a cash producing property, then I'm not really taking on as much risk as someone would assume I'm taking on, given I'm buying a $2 million property and have a $1.6 million loan. So it sounds like, wow, that's a big loan, but it's not the loan that matters. It's the loan compared to your cash flow. But if your mortgage on the $1.6 million loan is going to be like $7,000, $8,000 a month, $8,000, and if you're buying a $2 million property, you should hopefully bringing in about $20,000 a month. So your coverage is going to be about 65, 70%. So your expenses are about 14,000. You're bringing in 20. You're still netting 6,000. So in that example I just gave you, I took 400 out of this deal, which cost me 1,800. I put it into this other property, which now give me a net extra 6,000 a month. So that move actually brought me another $72,000 a month, a year in profit, 6,000 per month. So you can see that this is constantly, this snowball effect can get bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you say, oh man, the rich get richer. Yeah, the rich do get richer, but as long as you're making smart decisions with that money. Now, if you're going to be going out and buying flashy cars and all that stuff, you're not. That's why I said you never spend your equity. You never spend that value you make. I can live off of some of the cash flow, but I don't spend that chunk. That 400K, I'm not out blowing it. I'm out buying another property. Whatever the cash flow comes from that, I can spend and do whatever I want on. And eventually you come to a point, once you start making more than like $7,000 a month, you really aren't getting that much happier in your lifestyle from spending. So once you made, say, 10,000, you're like, I'm pretty happy with spending 7. You can save an additional 3. It's easier to save an additional 3. Now you got an extra $36,000 saved up. And you can see now you're making $20,000 a month. You got an extra $13,000 per month that you're saving. It's easier for you to be able to have, at the end of the year, an extra $150,000 to buy another deal. And you can see it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. All right. Pascal, how can we lower taxes on an investment property? For you to be able to lower taxes on an investment property, you actually have to go to the property appraiser and tell them why you think it should be less. You have to give them a reason why, because they're assessing your property based off of other properties, and they're assessing your property based off of the value they think. So one of the ways you could do it is by saying your property isn't worth as much. Now, again, say your property is worth 500. That doesn't mean that property appraiser is going to appraise it for 500. They could only appraise it for, say, 280. I have one property that's worth 300 and they're only assessing it at like 110. So I'm only taxed on 110. So it's all about how you, you can argue your position. So Fredo says, Cardone, is Cardone someone you want to be someday, or are you good where you're at? So I'm actually ahead of Cardone where he was at my age. So do I see myself being bigger than him? Yes, I do see myself being bigger than him. Based off of what I'm doing now, if I just keep on the pace I'm at, I'm going to be bigger than him. Like, it's not a question, could I be a billionaire? It's going to happen. It's a question is, when will I be there? Because market conditions can happen, things can come up. But as long as you're conservative and you're not making, as long as I don't get like a drug habit, God forbid, or like some type of become an alcoholic or something crazy like that, or I get some severe disease, outside of those, things that, God forbid that it happens, it's your choice, right? It's like, and again, and I'm not saying I'm going to be there because I'm greedy to be there. I'm saying that because I actually enjoy this. So this is what I do for fun. So this is not like someone you have to go into the office and work more. No, I actually enjoy what I do. So I see it's going to be very easy for me to continually grow because I'm always looking for more deals. And I'm actually kind of like bummed out because I want to buy more stuff and I just can't find anything that's worth it. So I'm sitting on all this money and I'm like, I want to buy something else. And I just can't because I can't get myself to overpay for something. So Fredo says, good for you. God bless. I want to partner with you on this ride. Thank you very much. I appreciate your blessings. Thank you very much. And again, I definitely want to help as many people as possible. And I get a lot of messages about people saying, come on, let's go buy something. Just be patient. Because what I learned a long time ago is if you're patient and you make one smart move, that one smart move can make you more money than 10 other moves where you're hustling and pushing yourself and trying to make it happen. But if it's not meant to be, it's not going to happen. So right now, I feel it's the time where you can wait, be patient, and just make one or two smart moves and get a huge return. Again, the last time the market crashed in 2008, I bought a 7-unit building for $335,000. I put down $35,000 on that deal, and today it's worth $1.4 million. So $35,000 turned me $1.1 million in profit. Just one smart move. So what I'm hoping to do is not have $35,000. I'm hoping to put $3.5 million into another smart move and have it make me like 10 or 100 million. That would be crazy. But I'm really looking. We should be able to. I'm expecting myself to make at least 10 times on my money from whatever I invest in from this next go around. So I really think I'm going to be able to make at least 10 times. What's Cardone Capital Investors ROI like? 15%? Nah, brother. It's like 3%. It's like crazy low. Yeah. He invests in A+ fully finished properties. There is really much upside potential except for natural inflation on the rent. So that's not what I do. I buy properties that are like the Safety Harbor project I bought for $950,000. It was empty. It was making no money in rent. And then I invested around like another $900,000 into the property. And now it's worth over $3 million. And I already have someone asking to buy it. And I'm saying, no, I'm not going to sell it. So that's my deal. Like after a year, I basically increased the value 50%. He doesn't do that on his deals. They just do small rent increases. So that's how I'm able to make a larger return than he's able to make. His business is raising capital, where my business is building good properties. So my ROI is higher. But what he does is he makes a ton of money off of raising all this money he's making, and he gets fees off of that money. Do you recommend buying only in one state or multiple? So it depends how much money you have, right? But if you're saying, you're going to buy 5 duplexes, it's probably a good idea to buy them in one city that you find to be a very good city. The reason being is if you're able to build an efficiency of having a group of people, the same group of people, fix all of them, you're able to get a better price in which would increase your return. So that is what I think you should do. Now, the reason personally, I bought them in many different cities, thinking I could diversify my risk. I did diversify my risk some, but at the end of the day, it just became such an expensive, it was an issue with expenses fixing everything because there was about an hour and a half drive between one to the other. So it was just very labor intensive and expensive to maintain them. So if you're able to get one group of people to maintain all of them, most of the people don't, like a small time repair guy or a property management group, they don't really move outside of a half an hour radius. So if you're more than a half an hour radius, you're gonna have to have multiple different people trying to repair your properties or manage your properties, because some small time Property managers, they don't go an hour and a half distance between properties. It's not worth their time. So, and you're not going to get the discounts that's going to increase your profit margins that way. So that's my logic. Again, guys, anyone who wants to go live and ask questions, feel free to do that. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And I'll be able to give you more detail. Are you Papa John's? Yes, I am Papa John's. What's more profitable, single family home or multifamily? Multifamily. If California is bad for real estate, where else can I find a property? I mean, close to California, Arizona. Arizona is very fast growing with rents. And a lot of people that leave California go to Arizona. And then after Arizona gets too hot, they go to Texas. Have properties gone down already? In New York City's properties have gone down 5% already from the articles I've read. What is the worst thing that can happen when buying your first property? So again, what I've mentioned, Teen Ambition, is that if you're buying a property and you make a bad deal, a bad decision, you could get a tenant. And if you're in the wrong state, you could be stuck with that tenant for 12 months. You could buy something with a bad roof, and that roof leaks, causing mold, causing drywall issues, causing people to have to move out, and causing you to do a full remodel. Water heater can explode and then do a ton of damage. Have foundation issues. There's 1,000 things that can go wrong. But what you have to do is do your due diligence, get an inspector to check the property so you know if there's any issues before you buy the property. Remember that $500 inspection is going to be able to save you hundreds of thousands of dollars to avoid a bad property. All right. Any market bubble or downturns you predict? I think, again, the market overall is going to go down of May 2021. It's going to start going down. I think LA, New York, Miami, Chicago, San Francisco, they're all going to go down pretty hard. Is that apple flavored hookah? Double apple? No, it's watermelon mint. So it needs more charcoal. So what happens if the inspector fails? So most inspectors should have a certain type of insurance, but how likely are you to claim against that policy is questionable. But normally the inspection report is pretty detailed to say like all the things that are wrong. Where do you look to find properties to invest in? I normally look in the Tampa market. I like buying in the Tampa Bay market. I think low key, this is going to be one of the new tech bays. Like what I mean by tech bays is like San Francisco Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to be one. On the other side of the other side of the state, we have the Gold Coast, where we got all of the different companies like Tesla and all the other companies that build products for Tesla. They are having a lot of people move down here, and the people that are moving down are making $100,000 a year. So that's growing. We're having all of the finance companies come down here. So we're talking about Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. All the jobs from New York, they're actually moving down here. So a lot of that business is coming down. And that is just making our area more and more desirable. And I still think there's a lot of room to grow, because I think roughly 50 to 60% of the state is still green. I mean, hasn't been developed yet. So there's a lot of room for growth too. So yeah. Kristen says, hey, Pascal, how was your day? Enjoying your live like always. Thank you, Christian. My day was good. I got up in the morning. I got up at like 5 a.m. At 6 a.m., I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, came home, relaxed a little bit, went to work, did some work, Then I did Wing Chun at like 7 o'clock after I went to the Cairo to get myself ready for lifting again. So doing really good, just enjoying it. Got competition November 7th, Worlds. We're gonna have Worlds for powerlifting, so just gonna prepare for that. Thanks for asking. All right. All right. We Love says, hey, I'm 19 years old and I heard about wholesale. I was wondering if that is easy to find distressed sellers and find a buyer. So it's a numbers game. You can't just call 10 people and find one. You're going to call 100 and you might find one. And you might end up calling 1,000, get 100 on the phone and only close one. So you have to think, you have to make hundreds and hundreds of phone calls to find one. But can you do it? Yes. I got lucky and I did it, and I actually only sent out 20 letters and I got one sale. You get lucky sometimes. And then I sent out a bunch more, hundreds more, and I didn't get any calls. So it just happens sometimes. Why is the market here still crazy in Fort Lauderdale? So the reason it's still crazy, is because a lot of people from New York are moving down. And a lot of the people that are going to go into foreclosures and a lot of the eviction properties, they're not moving. So since they're not moving, it's having the inventory be lower. Plus the lower interest rates making a lot of people want to do deals. So those are the factors why. But I think when May comes and there's a lot more properties coming up for sale, and there's going to be a lot less available people to buy them, and with the housing prices coming down, it's going to make things more and more difficult. Now, the one thing that could happen is if we don't have enough available housing for people. So one thing could happen. Like, let's just say, crazy scenario. A bunch of people leave New York City. Like 25% of the people leave New York City. And all 25% come to Tampa, which a lot of them are coming to Tampa. But let's just say, hypothetically, the Tampa housing market could possibly see no recession, no drop in housing prices. And New York would have a hard drop. It could be that format. Now, again, 10,000 people are turning 65 in America every single day over the next 15-year trend. So that's going to be a lot of people coming to Florida, Texas, and Arizona. So if they happen to come in droves, that could cause these three states to have a massive amount of people coming in, and there could be massive exodus out of California, Chicago, New York, Miami, because there are some people also leaving the country too. So it's a mix. So what I'm going to say is there's going to be opportunities coming available, and just be prepared for those opportunities. I think there's an issue because I see people wanting to go live, and then when I go and try to check who wants to go live, they're disappearing. So might be an issue with IG again. Where is it better investment, suburbs versus cities? So I'm picking I'm not picking the major cities. I don't. The return on investment isn't good. So I'm picking more not suburbs, but within the secondary markets, the downtown area, where it is kind of suburbs, but it is still has a lot of businesses and a lot of activities. So I'm not picking suburbs where it's super quiet. So I live in the suburbs. That's not where I'm investing in. I'm investing in the downtown market where there's lots of activities on the weekends and there's bars and parades, and it's a lot of fun stuff for people to do, a lot of activities. That is where I'm investing in, because in the week, everyone's going to be on the computer all day, not leaving their house, and they're going to be bored. On nights and the weekends, people are going to want to go out and have fun, and they don't want to go too far. So if they could just walk downtown to the bar, that's really where people are going to want to live. All right, what if you migrate to the States? Would you invest in real estate at your country of origin first, or the country you immigrated to? I would invest in America, because normally the countries we're coming from, the countries we're leaving, there's a lot of problems. I came from Syria. I'm not going to go invest in Syria. Some people do that. And the issue is, we left those countries for a reason. There's a lot of instability. So now you want to make money here and put your money, everything you worked for, in a country that's unstable? Now, let's say hypothetically you do put money, and some people will go and pay, like they can probably get a house for 30 or 50,000 American and pay cash for it over there, and it'd be a very nice house. And you're like, oh, one day I'm going to go retire and live there, which again, there's a lot of expats that go overseas. But remember, that is not an investment, right? That is basically just some money you're putting away for retirement. It's not an investment, because those properties rarely go up. And if you see some of these countries, when there is a global issues, that those property values fall down harder than they do in America. So yeah, in America, you might see housing prices drop 20, 30%, but you'll see certain property places overseas, they'll drop 70%. So again, be cautious and understand the decision you're making and why you're making that decision. John says, let's say May 2021 house prices go down. Does that also reflect rents? Normally, rents do not go down. Now, in LA and in New York, they're actually giving a lot of rent incentives because they want to rent out properties so they can collect money. So if in those cities there is major problems, then rents could possibly go down. But normally, rents don't go down. If you see a mass exodus out of your city, rents can go down. But historically, the answer is no, rents don't go down. They will flatline in a bad economy, and then within a year or two, they start ticking back up. Do you think it's best to wait until May 2021 to buy an investment, or to buy now? Why? I don't think it's worth buying now. One, because I have not found any deals, and I've been really looking for deals to buy. So up market, down market, sideways market, you can always buy a property. It is not the market conditions that determine you should buy a property. It is the property that determines if you should buy that property. So currently, I haven't found anything worth buying. If there was, I would buy now too. But unless you're getting something that's like 20, 30% off of retail, it's probably not worth buying. So just be very conscious, because I do believe prices will probably go down 20, 30%. Now, there is certain cities I want to buy in. Even if they don't go down 20, 30%, I'll probably be willing to buy now and just hold off, because the moves I would make could force value, could force appreciation. I could make things become worth more, even if markets go down. So if you have that ability and you know how to do that, then it could be worth it for you too. But again, normally when I'm buying a property, I'm buying a property under its full potential value, and I make it into its full potential value. So let's just say I buy a property and it's worth $1 million today in its current condition. I can force it to be worth 1.8 million. So if it falls to 1.4, I still won't care, because I only bought it for $1 million and probably only invested a few $100,000. So I'm still in it less than what it fell to. I still have equity in the deal. So that's the important factors you got to remember, is that not only what is it worth, but what could you make it? Kristen says, did you see how Barracks went up almost $2 today? To what amount would you predict it to go up to in the next year or two. It's at $30.50 right now per stock. So per share. That's what I mean. So I actually told you guys I was buying Barrick's Gold. Its ticker is GOLD. I told you guys I was buying that like 3 months ago. And then shortly after, the price went up a lot. And then a few other times people are asking me, what are you buying? And I said, this is what I'm buying. I'm buying this and a couple other things. And then last month, I think Berkshire Hathaway announced that it bought about $500 million worth of this stock. So the company is a gold mining company. And if you imagine the price of gold, if the price of gold goes up 20%, its revenue is going to increase 20%. But its expenses didn't increase at all. It didn't cost any extra money for it to make that extra 20%. It's like rent. When rent goes up, you didn't actually spend any more money. You just made more money. So if expenses go up 20%, or income goes up 20% and expenses don't go up for Barracks, that would almost, I think, double their profit. So if that happens, doubling their profit could mean doubling their price on the same PE ratio. So that's on, let's say 20%. Well, what if gold goes up 50%? Could that mean tripling its income, its net income? And if it triples in net income, could the stock price triple? Theoretically, it could. So what I'm thinking is, in my opinion, it's a good investment for me because I think it's going to go up. The question is, how much is it going to go up? And that's normally the type of investment I buy. I buy things that I know will go up. When is it going to go up? I don't know. When is the market going to realize it should go up? I don't know. The market's not rational. But for my assessment, if I can assess something should go up, and it should go up a good amount, I just don't know how much and I don't know when, it's usually a buy. And especially if it doesn't go up right away. It's counterintuitive, right? You would think, well, if it's already been going up, now I should buy it now. No, I think if it should go up and it hasn't gone up yet, sometimes it's a good thing because you can buy and then all of a sudden, it goes off. So I think when things start getting more and more unstable, people run to gold. The more the price of gold goes up, it should make the value of Barrick Gold, ticker GOLD, go up exponentially. So that is my play. And I like making moves where I can make a move, buy some stock, sit on it, wait 6 months, a year, and all of a sudden, poof, it takes off and I make a bunch of money and only made one move. Because I like making very efficient moves that you can make one move, make a bunch of money, and then just, not have to sit on a computer and day trade all day trying to make the same profit I can make off of one move, just being very patient. Why is gold going up? Really good question, John. The reason why I think gold is going to go up is because gold is where people go for safety. So if they think the economy is going to be really bad, if they think they can't trust currencies and governments, people will go to gold. That is the safety play. They don't keep their money in cash. They trade their cash for gold. 2, people buy gold when they think there's going to be a lot of inflation. If the government keeps printing money, people will end up buying gold because they basically are hedging against inflation by buying physical gold. So that's normally what happens. That's normally the thought process behind buying gold. Now, my preferred investment is real estate because not only is the value of the land going to go up because they keep printing money, but you're also collecting money, cash flow from tenants paying rent. But that's going to be a scary thing to invest in for some people because of the eviction moratorium. All right, Fishy says, if Elon Musk ends up picking up gold from the asteroids, do you predict the value of gold to go down? It's said the asteroid has more gold than there is on Earth. So hypothetically, he does that. The odds of them doing it any time in the next like 10 or 20 years is really far out. Two, they have to get permission to bring that stuff back to Earth. I think that's going to be a process. It's going to be a time process before they do that. So could it happen? Possibly. Do I think it's likely to happen? Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. All right, guys. It was great talking to you guys. I wish you guys have a great night. I'll be live again this Sunday. Everyone be blessed. If you need any help with taxes, insurance, or mortgages, send me a DM on IG. If you guys want to learn more on how I went from 0 to 23 units, from the age of 19 to the age of 23, I went from no units to 23 units in a 3.5-year period, feel free to check out my course, Foundations of Personal Finance. If you have 2 or 3 properties, you could probably still learn something. Again, this is how I got to 23 units. So that link is in the bio on IG. If you guys are watching, again, please smash the like button, share with friends on YouTube and IG. Lots more content on YouTube for anyone who is not currently following on there. I love you guys. God bless. Have a great night.